Whoa. Have I actually got questions before I've even started my broadcast? Wow. Wow. I have got questions. I'm just going to just demonstrate this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, my Lord alive. This is a sort of spontaneous publicity we need. I got questions before I've even started. So, Rachel and Junie, I am really, really impressed and very, very happy that I've got some questions here. So just so we, oh no, cancel. Just so we know what we're doing here today, we are doing, yeah, because I know that everyone watches this without any sound on, so I've got to put my banners on. Banners going on. So yeah, Facebook Live, hoping everything's working okay. And we are good to go. And I've got some questions, but also I've got some live questions or some, questions already. So that is awesome. I am going to go straight in because this is just, this is great. So we've got a question here. Let's go. I mustn't forget my questions. I've got my ones written down here. But this is ones. We've got Rachel. Rachel has put a question here. I don't know how you've done this, Rachel. I will look into it afterwards. How have you put that question in before I started this? Was there a post on Facebook already or something? Anyway, I'm immensely grateful to you, Rachel. And your question is, hi, I'm thinking of having rhinoplasty. Would like some advice on this procedure and what's realistic results. Okay. Right. Well, Rachel, did something happen then? Was that, did the screen go blank? Was that just me? Anyway, Rachel, I will definitely answer your question to the best of my ability, but I don't do rhinoplasty. I mainly do breast and body contouring. I don't do facial plastic surgeries, don't do facelifts, rhinoplasties, blepharoplasties, eyes and things. I've done it in my training, so I know about it. And I was actually going to specialize in head and neck, was my specialty at the end of my training, but I then went into breast. But anyway, I will answer your question. What, having rhinoplasty, like some advice on this procedure and what's real? Well, my advice to you, Rachel, for this procedure is that rhinoplasty, I actually decided quite early on in my career that I wasn't going to do rhinoplasty because rhinoplasty is a very difficult operation. And rhinoplasty really is something that you need to see a specialist about. If you see my book, which I haven't got here, but I've just got my second edition out now. Look at that. That's good publicity, isn't it? Anyway, I've written a book about how to choose a plastic surgeon, and it says about how choosing a specialist and what have you, because plastic surgeons tend to generalize, and all sorts of plastic surgeons do breast surgery. To be honest with you, it's sort of okay for most plastic surgeons will do breast surgery, and sort of for the more routine breast surgeries like breast augmentation, we're using the same size implants. Cases where you haven't got asymmetries and things like that, it's sort of okay for any sort of plastic surgeon would be able to do that surgery just fine. But I always say, look, you've got to be careful of people who dabble. And I think you've got to be really careful of people who dabble in rhinoplasty, because rhinoplasty is so difficult. And it's difficult because it's subtle, and subtle changes can make a big effect on the nose. So you've got to be really careful. And if you overdo it, then, it's difficult to then build it back up again. So rhinoplasty is one of those operations which really needs to be done by someone who specializes in that sort of thing. So, and you're absolutely right to ask what's realistic for results, because the whole thing about any cosmetic surgery is matching the expectation in the surgeon's head with the expectation in your head, because you can do a surgery and think, I haven't done a great job. And then the patient says, it's not what I expected. I'm not happy with that. And you're thinking, actually, that is what I expected. So why is that not, why have we not met there? So that's why I always encourage people to come back to clinic as often as possible. So you need to obviously have a rapport with your surgeon, look at several surgeons if needs be. I know it's difficult when they charge for consultations, but I think it's a good thing to get maybe several surgeons, because you need to make sure that you are on the same wavelength as a surgeon, and you've got to make sure that they're going to look after you, because often you need revisions. not often, but you may need revisions. You may not be quite happy about it. First of all, you need to give it time to settle. But even when it's settled, you might need to have little bits and bobs done. So you need to be careful. You need to be confident that your surgeon's looking after you and will take you through that, and will fix things if they can and things like that. So yeah, good question, really good question. Personally, I can't help with the rhinoplasty, but I would say look for someone who's doing a lot of them, can show you some photographs of some cases, maybe look for testimonials and things like that. But yeah, but it can be life changing. There's no doubt about it. It can be life changing. So yeah, fantastic, Rachel. You're straightening out the gate. In fact, I say that I don't think you were straightening out the gate, because looking at this, Junie, you have posted that question at 6:10. So that is legend. What time is it now? 7:15. How did you post that question at 6:10? Was it that? Did I registered this? Is that what it was? Did it put a post up anyway? Karen, you're in. Karen, got your question. I'm on it. Whoa, rolling. Junie, you're up. Junie, step forward. Right, Junie's got a diagonal scar across her tummy from a gallbladder removal done before the days of keyhole. I remember those days, Junie. It's called a Cocker's incision. I would like an FDL tummy tuck. So fleur de lis for viewers out there. Oh God, we've got things coming in thick and fast here. Fleur de lis tummy tuck revision. As I have a baggy midriff, can you cut through an existing scar? One side of it would be removed, but the other side around 4 inches would remain. Thanks. Thank you, Joni, for the question. Good question. And it's a question that I'm thinking that you sort of know the answer, Joni, because you must have seen someone who said that there's a problem, because there is a problem with doing a tummy tuck when you've got a Cocker's incision. So a Cocker's incision is a incision here underneath the rib cage, there. And it's the way they used to do tummy tucks, big scar underneath the rib cage. And it is a relative, not an absolute, but a relative contraindication to tummy tuck, particularly a fleur de lis tummy tuck. Fleur de lis tummy tuck is like an inverted T, so you have a scar down the bottom and a scar down the middle. And your question is saying, can you cut through an existing scar? Absolutely, yes, you can cut through an existing scar. You can cut scars out. You can cut through scars and stitch them up and all sorts of things. There's no problem with that. That is not the problem. The problem with the Cocker's incision, this incision up here, is that when you do a tummy tuck, you're removing all the skin in the lower abdomen, not in the upper abdomen. So you remove the skin in the lower abdomen from the belly button down, and you mobilize the skin in your upper abdomen in order to pull it down to close the wound. So you have to undermine the upper abdomen and pull it down. And the blood supply for that top flap of skin is coming through the sort of your rib cage area, through the skin there. So when you've got a Cocker's incision, when you've got that incision, that's interrupted that blood supply. Now, it's obviously a very old scar because we haven't done Cocker's incisions for a while. So that's good. There might be some blood supply coming through it. But if it's going to be a tight closure, I would worry that that incision there would interrupt the blood supply to the healing wound, and you're going to have more chance of wound healing problems. So if you have that scar up underneath your rib cage, that is a potential for more problems with the healing. So that is a problem, Junie, and you need to talk to your surgeon. My just gut feeling, I don't know, I haven't sort of examined you obviously and things like that, but my gut feeling is I think a fleur de lis is just adding to your levels of complexity, because you've got a line there and a line there. So you've got the blood supply to this is only coming from that one side, because you've got a line on both. So I think a fleur de lis is pushing it. I would be inclined to move away from a fleur de lis tummy tuck and just go with a standard tummy tuck with the scar in the bottom. And I would be worried about the fact that you've got a scar up there, Junie. And I would be concerned. And it depends if you've got a lot of laxity and there's a big distance between the scar and what the wound will be, and there's a lot of lax skin, then you might be able to do it. but you would probably not want to make it as tight as you might otherwise make it. So therefore your result might not be as tight as it could have been, but it's a balance between giving you a fantastic result, but you don't want the wound to all break down. So you probably want to give you a less fantastic result with a better blood flow to that skin. But this is a discussion you need with your surgeon, but it is a worry. I'm assuming you met a surgeon and they've said that there's a worry, and because that's why you're asking questions. So I agree with that surgeon. It's a worry. So yeah, fantastic question, Junie, right off the bat. And 6'10", hats off to you. You're listening, people. Junie put a question in at 6'10". Can that be beaten? Okay. Let's try next week. It might have to depend on when I put my post on. I don't know how this works. Got to get into it. But there's a question related. We've got some comments here with hands and yeses, and I normally like your comments, by the way, guys, but I can't on this thing that I've got because I've got these banners and stuff down here, like stuff like that, you know. So because I've got that, I'm not in normal Facebook, so I can't like things. So I'll go back and like it afterwards. Does that count? So what we've got is, but we've got a question, Karen. I'm going to leapfrog you. Rachel says, thank you for your advice. Rachel, you're very welcome, Rachel. Good luck with that. And I hope that has been helpful. You can by all means message me or email me if you need any more advice on that one. That was the rhinoplasty, Rachel. Terry, what is that? Hand up to you, Terry. In fact, the hand is quite a popular emoji, isn't it? What's the hand? Got to get into the hand emoji. I'm not familiar with the hand emoji. What does it mean? Hello? Now that one I'm familiar with. Yeah. Now this, Karen, I am coming back to you, but it's just that Shell has asked a question which is similar to Junie's question, which is, can you do a full tummy tuck if a C-section scar is quite deep? Whoa, definitely yes, Shell. Totally different kettle of fish. So Junie's scar was up the top here. Stand up to demonstrate. Junie's scar was up here under the rib cage. Caesarean scar is down here, down where in the same sort of place that your tummy tuck scar will be. This is good TV, isn't it? This is what we want. A bit of action. Keep moving. So a Caesarean scar, actually, that's an indication for a tummy tuck, Shell, because that tummy, when they do the Caesarean, sometimes that scar is puckered, and that can make your skin look more of an overhang than it actually is with a puckered scar. And so that's an indication to do a tummy tuck. In fact, often a mini tummy tuck, which is sort of slightly smaller version of a full tummy tuck, as the name suggests. So yeah, absolutely. So if the scar's deep, basically the scar, what's happened is they've cut through the skin down to the abdominal wall to deliver your baby, and that scarring has scarred all the way down, and that causes that deep indented scar, which people don't like, and makes as I say, it makes you look like you've got more of a fullness above the scar than you actually have. It's just the dented in scar. So by releasing that scar, by doing either a full or a mini tummy tuck and getting some fat underneath the scar, you actually excise the old scar. You give you a new scar in the same place, but what we try and do is get some fat underneath the scar so you don't get the same problem. I mean, you can't guarantee it, but that's a good indication for a tummy tuck. A full or a mini tummy tuck is a indented in Caesarean scar, so that is a good indication for it. So still on the live questions, we've got, so thank you very much for that, Shell. And if I would, it's a wave. It's a wave. There we go. It's a wave. It's official. So guys, if you're wondering what that hand was, it's a wave. So thank you. Thanks, Karen. I've learned that, and you will be seeing that in my posts. You will be seeing the wave. I will be utilizing that to the full. And what I've got now is I've got to look at this. Look at this. Karen asked a question. Karen, and so thanks a wave. Thank you. Oh God, look at this. Shuttle saying thank you. You're welcome. Karen, my surgery will be next Tuesday. How long after can I drive? Well, there's sort of two questions there, Karen. Well, there's not. It's one question clearly, but there's two things to say. One thing I would say in general, how long can you drive after surgery? And the other is, how long can you drive after your surgery? Which is clearly what your question is, because you don't care about how long you can drive after surgery generally, do you? But after surgery, as you said, I'm going to answer that anyway for the viewers at home. So after surgery, generally, you can generally drive after a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. depending on, so I don't really want to talk, because you can tell people what you're having if you want, but I'm not going to really divulge that, Karen, because it's just between you and me. So generally, surgery is a couple of weeks. It depends on having done. So breast surgery is often sometimes after a week, particularly breast augmentation, breast implants after a week, it might be all right, but I normally say stuff like a breast reduction is slightly bigger, and tummy tucks are bigger, so they're like 2 to 3 weeks, and then I just gradually go into it. So like with work and things, are you asking for work or not? Yeah, so often people ask for work, but so often I say 3 weeks to be safe after something like a tummy tuck. Sometimes, and one of my questions, actually, Karen, this is going to segue. Oh my God, it's almost like this was planned. This is going to segue into my question here. Oh, what, my emoji hasn't worked. Oh God, is that me? Did it just say a square after time? I'll put an emoji there. Anyway, someone's asking about having 2 operations at the same time. So sometimes people have 2 operations at the same time. In fact, the question was about having 2 operations at the same time. And my answer to that was, Karen, I am coming around to the answer. I know it looks like I'm being a bit around the houses. So can you have 2 operations at the same time? So it depends on what operations you're having. So it's quite common for people to have, like, for instance, breast and tummy operations. But that does knock you back, and it does knock you back quite a bit, particularly the tummy side of things. So I would say if you're having that sort of surgery, it's going to be at least 3 weeks. So I guess that's the answer, Karen, at least 3 weeks. And then sort of gradually get back into it and see how you go, and then build it up. So short distances to start with. But surgery like breast and tummy is quite common, and it is usually the tummy, as I say, that knocks you back more. So I've just done one just now, just before I came here. I've just done a breast and tummy op. Yesterday I did a tummy and legs op, which is sort of the same sort of area. So can you have 2 operations at the same time? If they're the same sort of area, then yeah, fine, because you sort of laid up after your tummy tuck, so your legs healing is not so bad. The problems come when people have 2 different areas, like sorry, dog. For instance, arms and legs. Like if you're having an arm reduction and thigh reduction, that's quite a big deal. So I think I would sort of be careful about doing different areas, because if your arms are out of action and your legs are out of action, bit grim. Whereas if you're having a tummy tuck and breast, you sort of like trunk is out of action. So it depends on where the operations are and what parts of your body are. And if they're in the same sort of area of your body, then yes, 2 operations is reasonable. But if they're in different areas, then it might be more of a problem for recovery. So just think of yourself. Think yourself, if you've got your arms bandaged up and your thighs bandaged up, and you've difficulty walking and difficulty moving and getting out of bed and getting into bed and doing stuff. So 2 operations can be done at the same time, and I can understand there's cost advantages to that, but also recovery advantages, that you want one recovery and all that sort of thing. So it's very common to do 2 operations at the same time, but you've got to think about what operations they are as to whether they sort of fit together, because this is, believe it or not, you would have thought I'd have planned it. There we go. This leads me to my next question, which is a patient who is asking, actually I say, well, it is a patient, it's not my patient, it's a patient who's inquired on the email about excision of a big, what she's had is she's already had an excision of a big tattoo on her thigh. So there's 2 parts to her question. One is, no, actually that's a different patient. No, there's a patient with one on the thigh on the arm saying, can I have both? And that goes back to me saying about the 2 options. She's going to have one thigh and one arm out of action. I'm mixing my questions now. So that's, I'm really going back to this one, aren't I? Yeah, so 2 operations at the same time. So the patient, the lady who's asked about, has got a linear tattoo on the arm and the thigh. Yes, you can have them both at the same time, but it might knock you back a bit having both arm and thigh out. But that's just an excision of a tattoo. So hopefully it's, I'll say just, but it might feel a bit tight and a bit uncomfortable. But back on this one now. So yeah, you can have your arm and thigh, but you just think of it, it might be a bit uncomfortable to have it both done at the same time, but perfectly reasonable. You see, this is a patient who has got in touch through email, who has got a very big tattoo on her thigh, and she's undergoing serial excision, and she's had 1 excision, and she's worried because she feels that the tissues underneath the tattoo have been removed, and she's lost volume in her thigh, and she's really worried about having another excision because she feels her thigh is smaller than the other thigh. and she's really worried. So my answer to you is that well, I didn't do the surgery, so but I think I understand what's happening. And what happens when you do the surgery? A lot of plastic surgery, sort of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know, we are actually taking stuff away. We are borrowing skin from places. You know, so we do take. It's only skin that you take away with a tattoo. So it's very unlikely that he will have taken or she will have taken any underlying fat or any underlying tissue from your thigh. But when you take skin away from your thigh, you're going to close it tight, and it's like having a balloon or something and put a tight coat around the balloon. You know, tightening it, it makes it look narrower, even though the volume of the balloon is the same. You're just making it tight, and it's going to look narrower than your other thigh. Now that scar does soften and settle over time, and as the scar settles, the thigh will look more like the other thigh. It may never look the same as the other thigh if you measure it, you know, carefully. But to be honest with you, the photos I saw of your thigh, it looked pretty good already. I didn't see an obvious difference in your thighs. And one of the problems when you have surgery is that you get really focused on stuff, and you think, hold on a minute, this thigh's smaller than that thigh. Oh my goodness me! If I have another excision, it's going to like fade away. I mean, in normal life, everybody's got asymmetries with their thighs, with their feet, with their hands, with their ears, with their eyes, with their breasts. Doesn't matter, there's always asymmetries. But when you're born with the asymmetries, you can sort of accept it a bit more than when you have them, you acquire them particularly by a surgeon cutting a bit of skin off your thigh. So I think you do look at things very, very carefully when you have surgery, which is not unreasonable because you paid a lot of money for your surgery and what have you. But I think what I would say is that scar will settle, and the thigh will settle, the shape of your thigh will settle, and I hope it'll be acceptable to you. And you're asking, should I have another one? I'm like, well, you could go down the route of laser again. It is a black tattoo, so it might respond to laser. You've already got this one big scar. I can't really answer the question whether you should have another excision or not, but the same thing will happen. It'll get tighter again. More tissue will be removed. If you look at the amount of size of your tattoo, sort of width like that, so that's a big tattoo. That skin has got to have gone from your thigh by the end of this, and so your thigh is going to suffer to some degree, and it may well look a bit narrower than the other thigh. But I think it looks worse to start off with, and then it settles and softens. And I would hope it will be acceptable to you, but I don't think he's or she has taken a big chunk of tissue from underneath the thigh. They've just taken the skin out because they've closed it tightly. It looks sort of narrower. So we've done the 2 ops. We've done the tattoo thigh. Should I have an emoji? The emoji's not there. There's my emoji. The thinking emoji there. Flip it there. Come on, man. Right, anyway, just imagine the thinking emoji there. Should I have my mole removed? So there's 2 things with the moles. First of all, are they cancerous or not? If you're worried about them, if they've changed, by all means, you can send us a photo and things like that. We can have a look at them. But a lot of the history depends on a lot of the diagnosis depends on the history. So we're looking for a change in a mole. If it gets darker, lighter, starts bleeding, starts itching, anything like that, then you would think about, well, is it turning cancerous? So that's something you might need to have something done, and you might have, then I would say to you, yes, you should have it removed or you should have it biopsied. If there's any worry about it, you should have it biopsied. The problem comes, which is in this case, is when it isn't anything to worry about. It's been there all your life. It's never changed. And, they are coming up. Oh, the emojis are coming up. Oh, did you get the thinking emoji? So the thinking emoji there, is it? I just got a square. Oh, that's good. Hi, Lynn. How are you doing? I'm very well, thank you. Nice to see you here. Just going about moles, can't remember what I was saying now. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the problem comes when they're you're not worried about cancer. So they've been there all your life, they've never changed, they never bleed, they don't itch, they're not cancerous, you just want to get it removed, should I have it removed type thing. Really hard to answer that question, because I normally say, look, a mole's a normal thing, it's a natural thing. If you have it removed, it's going to leave a scar of some sort. You could call it a mark or a red patch, but it's a scar basically. So it's going to leave a scar because the mole, the pigment usually goes through the skin. So you're going to have to, even if you do a shave excision, you're going to leave a mark. So there's going to be a mark of some sort. So it's a question of weighing up the benefits of having the mark against the mole, and it depends on how much you dislike the mole. If you don't dislike the mole that much, and if you're having to ask the question, should I have it removed, then perhaps I'd say to you, you need to think about it and not have it removed, because you can have it removed at any time. Once you have it removed, you can't sort of have it put back on again. You can't get rid of the, well, you can not have it put back on again, but you can't get rid of the scar. You can't, if you don't like the scar and think, oh, we should never have it done, it's like, well, you can't go back from that. But what I would say is the scar is often worse to start off with, then it fades. So you have to go through that period where the scar is worse, and then it does fade over time. So that's the benefit of the scar. It will fade, whereas the mole just sort of stays where it is. But to answer the question, you should have it moved. Now, first of all, you need to get it checked out that it's not cancerous. So you can come and see us. We do free consultations, or you can go to GP or whatever. But once it's not cancerous, so there's not been any recent change, and it's not caused you any symptoms like bleeding or itching or anything like that, then it's really up to you whether you have it removed. It's hard for us as doctors to say to you need to have it removed, because it really becomes a cosmetic thing there. You're trading one cosmetic thing for another cosmetic thing. You're trading the mole in or for the scar. I say it's cosmetic. It might be functional. It might cut. Sometimes things can raise, moles can catch, bleed when you shave and rub on bra straps and what have you. So there might be functional issues, but you have to decide whether those functional issues are sufficient to warrant having it removed. It's a risk-benefit thing, as is so much in cosmetic surgery. It's a risk-benefit. There's risks with everything, and there's benefits, obviously, otherwise people wouldn't have it done. And you just have to decide for your body whether the benefits are outweighing the risks, and for your how you feel about the thing that you're having it done. And really only you can answer that. We can tell you what the risks are, we can tell you what the benefits could be and what you can expect, going back to the rhinoplasty thing, but really it's up to you to decide whether it is right for you. We can't really tell you that. We can't say, oh crikey, you need to have that mole off, if it's benign, sort of thinking. So I feel that's been really, really, did I talk too quickly there? Where's my so that was, I'll tell you what, I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with the interaction there. That's very, very good. So thank you all for interacting. Same time, well, maybe the same time, I don't know, maybe a bit late next week, but we'll see how we get on. I think I said that last week. So I'll be here next week. And listen, Joni, you've set the benchmark there. Junie, sorry. You set the benchmark. 10 past 6 question came in. So get your questions in there before I even start it. Oh, awesome. I'm so happy about that. That's never happened before. So thank you, Junie and Rachel. Thank you both for that. I'm going to check myself out. I'm going to have some dinner. And I've been Jonathan Stoyano. Thank you for watching. And I am going to see you next week. Oh, unless you've got any questions. Any questions? No, I'm not seeing any. All in fair warn. Buonasera. Anna gets in. Come on, Anna. Yeah, I wonder where you were. Buonasera, Anna. Good to see you here. And I'm going to check out next week. I will see you here. I'm going to end the broadcast.